Hello, this is Valerie Morgan for Communications Class 110, Public Speaking. Dr. Karen Legg is my professor, and this is for my class. Um, my speech is about Queen Elizabeth Tudor the First and her chronological happenings in her life. I wanted us to get to know the lady behind the speech that we did on, or the paper we did on the second week of our class. Um, there's much more to her than just that speech. So I wanted to reiterate that. There's much more to this lady than that speech we had to do on the second week. So here goes. She was born Elizabeth Tudor the First on Sunday the 7th of September 1533 to Henry VIII and his second wife Anne Boleyn at Greenwich Palace. She was 2 years and 8 months old when Henry VIII had her mother beheaded. That was in 1536. Henry VIII marries Anne's lady-in-waiting, Jane Seymour, a week later and declares Elizabeth illegitimate and removes her from royal succession. She's not a princess any longer, she's a lady. Elizabeth is neglected for a number of years until Henry's final wife takes charge and makes sure she is educated to the highest standards and crucially taught the art of public speaking by renowned Cambridge scholar Roger Ascham. In 1547, she is 13 years old, and her father, Henry VIII, dies. Her 9-year-old half brother becomes king. Her stepmother, Catherine Parr, gets Elizabeth to join her household. Elizabeth is caught in an embrace with Parr's husband, Thomas Seymour. Elizabeth is banished from the home. In 1548, Catherine dies giving birth, and Seymour is executed for plotting to marry Elizabeth and kidnap Edward VI. Elizabeth is questioned by the authorities. She protests her innocence and escapes prosecution. After Edward's early death in 1553, Elizabeth's older sister Mary I becomes queen. Mary returns the country to Catholicism and begins a series of bloody purges of Protestants. Mary plans to marry Prince Philip of Spain and sparks an unsuccessful rebellion, and Elizabeth is interrogated about her involvement with the plotters. Imprisoned in the Tower of London before being put under house arrest in Woodstock, Oxfordshire. In 1558, Elizabeth becomes queen after the death of her half sister Mary. Elizabeth is 25 and becomes queen. In 1559, Queen Elizabeth I reinstates the Church of England to Protestantism. She removes the Pope as head of the English Church and instead becomes its supreme governor. She introduces a new book of common prayer and republishes an English translation of the Bible. In 1566, Queen Elizabeth I refuses to marry, though she has many suitors, but Parliament refuses to grant her any further funds until the matter of her marriage is settled. This angers the Queen, and using her skills of rhetoric, she lambasts members of Parliament, saying the welfare of her country is her priority, not marriage, and that Parliament should keep out of her personal matters. In 1583, the theater is flourishing. She frequents the theater. 1580 to 1585, the Queen seeks exploration and sees the beginning of an empire. 1585, Sir Walter Raleigh names a place in North America after the Queen, Virginia, after the Virgin Queen. In 1587, the Queen's cousin Mary, Queen of Scots, is plotting to kill Queen Elizabeth I, so she beheads her. In 1588, the defeat of the Spanish Armada as they try to invade England. the Queen defeats them. 1603, Queen Elizabeth I passes away, a beloved queen at 69. Now, the Queen had a troubled childhood, obviously. She went through a lot of stuff, but turned out on top. She ended up being the queen of the country. And that is a feat in itself, I think, considering what she went through. And that's my chronological speech, my informative speech of Queen Elizabeth I. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you.